Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Mara. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate your support and we love to interact with you.
5 things to help you out.
So, in the intro, we're trying to be sincere because learning piano is difficult for a lot of people.
It is difficult, but it can be a lot of fun,
It can be, and so that's kind of the methodology behind this video is we want to express how fun piano can be. And if you are not having fun learning notes, it's almost like learning a different language. If you're not having fun with the way you're learning, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It might be something wrong with the system and the way that you learn.
Absolutely.
And I try to encourage parents all the time to seek out good teachers who are open-minded and don't say there's only one way to learn piano, because a lot of the times you get a lot of frustrated students. There's a lot of parents out there who come in, oh, I played when I was little, I didn't like it that much. And that's where, like, I don't want to say it's an encouragement to quit, but it's a pass to give up.
It's an encouragement to quit.
It's a pass to give up at some point. And so this video is 5 things that we wish we knew.
Right, and it's just an attempt to simplify the process and to try to re-energize the thought that music is a language, and a lot of people use language and don't know how to read or write, and that's worldwide. And this isn't anything near like that, but it is the process that you can learn to play an instrument without having to learn all the lines and spaces and all of the notes, and that's the part that's fun. And then after a while, when you get quite proficient at playing the instrument, a lot of times the curiosity kicks in and people want to know what it is that they're playing. What chords am I playing? What am I doing? Because I know sometimes you don't play these keys with these keys. And so after a lifetime of trying and talking to a lot of different pianists, there's 5 kind of easy things at least to get you started. If you're starting piano or a beginner, regardless of age, these things will help.
And if you've maybe learned at an early age or have been learning for the last couple of years, these 5 things might make it a lot more fun. So we're going to start with number 1. And this one is hard to define in just one word, so we kind of came up with the idea, learn it as a guitarist would.
Learn the piano play the piano like playing a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, in the 60s, in 70s, everyone, even to this day, people still want to play guitar. And it's fun. You learn the chords and you strum it. You don't really do that on piano, but the concept is learn some chords, and instead of strumming, you play in rhythm, which is what strumming is.
Yeah, and so approaching the entire piano as an instrument that has chords and rhythm, and you learn 4 or 5 of them, you can start playing. It's almost the old verbiage is like 3 chords, you can play any song on guitar. Right. It's the same thing on a piano, and so really kind of having that framework, that mindset of I just need to learn a couple things, and the library expands, and I can start learning songs, and I can start really enjoying this as an instrument that I'm struggling with, but it actually sounds musical, and there's melodies I can sing along to or play along to. And so having that framework is really important. So imagine you're learning guitar at the piano. That's our number 1.
That's it. Because on guitar, when you're strumming, you've got 6 notes. Mm-hmm. And on piano, when you start off, they usually give you 1 note and 1 note. And so you're already 4 notes behind someone who's learning guitar.
Yeah.
So if you learn the chords where you're playing 3 at a time, and usually it's every other white key. How hard is that? And the same thing with the left hand. And as you go up those same keys all the way up and down the keyboard, that becomes an arpeggio. It becomes a hand position. And then after a while, you fill in with the other white keys in the key of C, and it's a scale.
Yeah, so we'll show you guys just real quickly on the screen here. Ted playing a C chord right here, very easy. Playing an F chord, playing a G chord. These are 3 simple chords that only involve the white notes, and really a lot of people can put together a whole melody from these 3 chords.
Write a top 40 song and make millions of dollars with that.
Yeah, and so the basis for all Nashville songwriting is right here in these 3 chords. On a guitar, it's usually G, C, and D. On a piano, it's usually C, F, and G. But really a good starting point to learning it like a guitar player would. So that brings us to our second point, the key of C. So
Key of C is amazing because it's all the white keys from C to C, and it makes the perfect scale. And so if you play the C chord, just the C triad, which is C, E, and G, and then you go up one note and back down, you move 2 notes down or you move 2 notes up, you get every form of the C chord. You get a C major, a C minor, you get a C augmented, you get a C diminished, and then you can start adding in other white notes, white keys, and what that will do is give you like a C9 or a C6 or a C7, whether it's flatted or not.
And so really approaching it and learning this scale and learning, hey, this is how my fingers should act when I'm playing in this key. These are where all my chords are going to be. It's really easy to look at it as a map, looking at the piano as a map and saying, this is where I am. I see the pattern. It repeats every 8 notes, and you kind of just go in and you ignore a lot of the keyboard. You ignore all the black notes. They're there as markers, as you'll see when you're playing in this key of C. And learning, you have an interesting approach to scales.
Yeah, the idea with scales is starting with a C scale is the fingering on a C scale, and we'll have a model showing this, is for the right hand, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the thumb goes under. And it's the same thing for the left hand. The problem is when you play them in parallel, you're not changing thumbs and crossing under and over at the same time. However, if you learn a C scale in parallel motion, you will change at exactly the same time. So you learn with your left hand going down and back, and your right hand going up and down. And so that way there, you can get a good feeling and memory, a lot of muscle memory for changing at the same time.
So we'll show traditional way, which is going to be the crossovers at a different point. And then we'll show the modern approach that Ted's saying, where you're really kind of doing it in parallel, and all your pinkies are hitting at the same time, your middle fingers, your crossovers at the same time.
Contrary, right?
And so that is it's really helpful because your brain can think a lot faster.
It does. It takes the thinking out of it, and it does the same thing for learning the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale for both left and right hands are primarily your 1 and 3, but when you encounter that extra white key where there's no black key in between, that's where your second finger comes in. And I'll give a demonstration on how to do that in contrary motion, chromatically, so that you're actually using the exact same fingers in both hands and you change at the same time.
Yeah, and so our big point in this, that was a lot of technicality, but the big point is learn your C chord, or C chords and C scales.
C scale and chromatic scale, because the idea is that once you have muscle memory and you burn that in, the first time you go to play it in parallel, you'll understand exactly where to change, and it'll go by magic almost.
And on your first day, you can sit down and say, I know the C scale because it's all the white notes from here to here. And so find middle C, be comfortable with those white notes, kind of start memorizing where they are, and that's going to be your roadmap for the next lifelong journey of music. And that brings us to our third point, rhythm.
Have to practice the rhythm, and this is the part that's fun because you can put together a song list that has maybe C, F, and G, all white chord key songs, and or a 1, 6, 4, 5 or something like that. And what you're doing is just basically playing the drums on those chords. It doesn't have to be a part that goes with the song.
Yeah.
But if you imagine yourself in a drum circle where everyone gets a drum, and everyone learns how to play in beat, and then you get a measure or two of solo and it goes around the room and no one ever misses a beat. And so the idea is to learn rhythm with both hands, not just one hand over the other, but with both hands.
Yeah, and so whether you're playing an octave in your left hand and a C chord with your right hand, just be practicing a 4/4 rhythm, a 3/4 rhythm, whatever rhythm that you want to be learning, just be practicing because it's so important to be keystroking at the right time in rhythm. It's not fun to play a piece where you're not in rhythm and you don't understand. So metronomes are huge here. Drum beats are huge on digital instruments.
And playing along with your favorite recording is huge. And
Yeah.
do it lots of times because that's how the practice.
And this, I think, ties right back to the first point, learning like a guitar. I always tell beginner guitar players, just palm mute the strings and just work on your strumming to your favorite songs. Just practice strumming along. You're not playing any notes, but you're a rhythm instrument at this point. Same concept here, but you've already mapped out the C area. Stick on a C chord, C's in the bass, C in the right hand. Just pound those out, and we'll do a demo here because it's conceptually hard to grasp, but it's really kind of simple once you start doing it. You're really just working on that pattern and that thump. It's like a heartbeat. You're trying to get as accurate as you can. And it's interesting, once you start learning about rhythms, you start learning like the 120 is a lot of songs are at 120 BPMs or 80 BPMs, these really nice numbers that kind of, once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, a lot of songs are in this timing.
This kind of groove.
So really encourage people to work on rhythm, just as important as scales, just as important.
Use a metronome or a drum machine, or again, play along with your favorite song. And again, if it's a 3 or 4 minute song and say you practice it 5 or 6, 7 times, you're going to get so bored doing what you're doing, you're going to start moving that C chord around naturally and start doing other things other than just that specific rhythm.
Yeah, so let's recap again. So you're going to be learning the piano as a guitarist. You know, you're thinking of it as
Like
chords,
a guitarist.
Like a
it's
guitarist.
like a guitarist.
It's not a perfect translation, but you know, you're chords focused. You're thinking of the song being put together with boom, one chord, boom, another chord, and you think about it in the key of C first. That's what we're saying to start with. C scales, C chord, F chord, G chord. Those are going to be your 3 major chords in the C scale. And so then once you start getting familiar with what a scale is and what the chord is, you're going to want to add in rhythm. And so staying on that C, maybe moving to that F, and that transition C to F. A lot of songs are 1 to 4, which is what your C to F is. And then this brings us to our fourth point, which is adding in small complexities at a slow time frame, because you've already made it very far if you can do these first 3 things.
Yeah, if you've gone from the C, F, and G to almost any position, that means with very minimal hand movement. You're changing the chords with minimal hand movement. Because in root position, there's quite a bit of movement. And you'll get away from root position and get to minimal movement. But to get to the more intricate parts would be like suspended chords and dominant sevenths, and then you can actually hear the resolution to the next chord.
Yeah, so this is where you want to start,
using the black keys. Even though you're in the key of C, you can start using the black keys as accidentals, as grace notes real fast before. Put them in between your melody notes.
Yeah, and you want to start really kind of reading about music theory from I like to do it from like a mathematic formula where you start reading about Nashville number system, then you start reading about what is a major chord, what is a minor chord, how do they work together, and really start to just focus still in C, focus on, okay, so I'm going to start in C, I'm going to go down 2 notes to an A minor, I'm going to go down 2 more notes to an F, and then up to a G, and that's the song everybody knows. The
1645 is like Heart and Soul.
Yeah, Heart and Soul. So it's the song everybody learns on piano. That and whatever the chopsticks.
This is the thing. I've known a number of young students and even adults that have been playing. Oh, I've been playing piano for a year, and some little kid will come up and start playing Heart and Soul, and the student, whether it's another kid or an adult, will go there. How are they doing that? Because they don't ever get around to doing that.
Yeah, and so that really, the beauty behind that song is it's teaching you the key of C. It's showing you the major chords of C, F, and G, and the most popular minor chord, the A minor.
Right.
It's teaching you rhythm because it's something that a lot of us are familiar with, that melody, that the feel of it, and it's teaching you transitions between it. So that's one of the first songs I ever learned on piano that made it fun. I was like, oh, it sounds like a song.
You could have someone else playing at the top and someone else playing at the bottom.
And it's really kind of teaching you structure. And
That's
so really kind of taking that, learning why those things work, and then adding complexity slowly. So once you really start to understand music theory on the C, and it's a journey, so you're not going to know everything right at first, but once you start understanding that, try moving up a step. Move up to a D, or move up to a. Moving up a step would be hard because you'd be in C sharp.
Well, that goes up to make it more complex and to understand the complexity of music. Understand that what works in the key of C works for every other key. It all works the same way. It's just you're starting and ending on a different note. And
so the patterns just shift.
The pattern shifts. So the way to think about it in terms of the piano and the keyboard is just keep it simple.
So that's our fifth point, black and white.
Black and white, because that's how the keyboard's laid out. And so along the same lines, you've already learned all the white keys that at this point that would be major. You can learn the C scale in triads, which would be C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. And it just keeps repeating all the way up the keyboard. So that's a 3-note scale going
let's
up one
look
octave.
at that. So let's look at that. We're going to do C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. So it's a pattern. You'll see it.
Right.
But translating that.
Translating that to the next chord structure, for example, if you have all white keys, then there's the way to look at it in black and white is white, black, white. So there's D, E, and A, and those scales work up the same way. And then there's what I call Oreo chords, which is D flat, E flat, and A flat, because that's black, white, black, like an Oreo cookie. And then there's the set that has all black. There's only one of those, which is F sharp or G flat. And then it also has the B flat, which is black, white, white, and white, black, black, which is B.
Okay.
And so that's all the chords on a piano.
And they're grouped in sets of three.
That are major chords, right? And they're grouped in sets of 3. And so that's one easy way to remember it. There's all white, and then there's Oreo cookies, and then there's reverse Oreo cookies, and then there's all black, and black, white, white, and white, black, black.
Yes.
So there's not a group of 3 all blacks.
Okay.
Okay, in order to get 3 all blacks on the piano, you're going to have some minors.
Yeah. And so it gets more complicated, obviously.
Right.
And so this is,
A simple way to think about it.
this is a simple way to think about it. And really, again, a lot of the heavy moving is in these first 3 and 4 steps. And so you want to, again, mentality of a guitarist, chords, scales. Very simple. It repeats the pattern. You're building blocks for a song.
Rhythm.
Second, you want to make sure your C scale, you have it, your C chord, your F chord, your G chord, your A minor chord. Those are very important chords, all on the C scale. Then you want to work on rhythm. You want to work on, you're a drummer. Your hands are drummers, and you're boom, 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 boom. You want to make sure you've got it down. You want to make sure you're always working towards a metronome or a drum machine. These things will help you encourage you to play because it'll be more fun because you're in rhythm and it will sound like a song. Because every song that's recorded is to either a click track or to a drummer, and they're trying to be as precise as possible so that it doesn't sound like you're speeding up or slowing down or jumping around. And then add complexity slowly. You know, this is the part where it's your musical journey, and you want to really take it as slow or fast as you can have time for. If you have hours a day to dedicate to this, you might start jumping ahead real quickly. If you have 30 minutes a day, take it slowly. It's okay. It's okay not to know how to play a B scale for a very long time. Right. That's something that you can put off for years. You can use the transpose button on your keyboard and stay in C for years and years and years. You can just play in the key of C, all white notes,
right,
and be a great sounding pianist. And so there's tools to help you, and hopefully this you know, and our last point was black and white. So
it is black and white, and remember that even though we talked mostly about playing in a key of C or A minor and most of the white keys, on a piano that's 52 out of 88 keys. The remaining 36 keys are all the black keys, and there's only 5 per octave. So there's these big cuts, and if you cut the keyboard in half at 44 keys, well, which half is it? The top half or the lower half? At least this way here, with all the white keys in the key of C and an A minor, and these simple instructions, at least you have an idea how the keyboard is laid out, and you'll have control of the majority of the keys, and they'll all be in the proper order. In other words, they'll be like running in a scale.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are encouraged by how easy we're making it sound.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of insight. And it is easy, it really is. It's just...
Yeah, and it's all math too. Some people love math, some people hate it, but really there's a right way to approach the keyboard, and if you think about it as simple numbers, you're moving from 1 to 4 to 5 to 6. You know, it all starts making sense and adding up, and you really start, I think, enjoying learning it.
Starts to get to be fun.
Mm-hmm. And so, this is Ted Barstow. I'm Patrick Marr with Alamo Music. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you have any tips for beginners, please leave some comments below. I know a lot of people need encouragement in this time when they're trying to learn how to play their instrument and take full advantage of, hey, I bought this thing. Now what do I do with it? My teacher is helping me, or it's difficult for me to just read sheet music. These are some tips that I think make it more fun because you can pull up, a tablet, look up your favorite song with chords, and just learn,
go pound them out on the piano.
Yeah, and you can be playing any song you ever wanted to play very easily. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content. We love to bring it to you.